The security guard stared at me like I had crawled out of a grave. His hand touched the glass door, then slowly dropped. "Mr. Lawson, I don't even know what to say." "Then don't," I muttered. I kept walking. Rain hammered the parking lot outside the building I had spent half my life inside. 22 years, gone in less than 20 minutes. Everything I owned from my office fit inside one beat-up cardboard box sitting under my arm. A framed family photo, a cracked coffee mug that said "World's Okayest Boss," and an old silver desk clock my wife bought me back when the company operated out of a tiny warehouse with broken heaters and folding chairs. Funny thing is, I didn't yell, didn't fight, didn't slam doors. My own son had just forced me out of the company I built from nothing, and somehow I walked away quieter than everybody else in the room. That's what bothered me, not the lawyers, not the board members avoiding eye contact, not even Tyler refusing to look at me while he talked. It was the fear on his face after I stood up to leave, like he expected something bad to happen next. And maybe deep down, he knew it would. At 2:15 that morning, my phone rang. I almost ignored it. Then I saw Tyler's name. His voice sounded shaky. "Dad, you watching the news?" I sat upright in the cheap motel bed. "What happened?" "Just turn it on." The line went dead. Every local station showed the same thing. Federal agents outside Lawson Technologies. Employees standing around confused. Reporters shouting over each other while camera flashes lit up the parking lot. Words like fraud investigation, financial crimes, internal corruption. My stomach dropped. Then the reporter said my name. I muted the TV instantly. Something about the whole thing felt wrong. Way too organized. Way too fast. Investigations like this didn't appear overnight. Somebody had been building this case for months. And somehow, I was the target. Tyler called again 10 minutes later. "Dad, people think you did this." I stayed silent, because suddenly a whole bunch of little moments started replaying in my head. Files disappearing from my office. Meetings getting moved without telling me. Contracts showing up with signatures I didn't remember signing. At the time, I blamed stress, age, burnout. Now it felt like pieces of a setup. Then Tyler whispered something that made my blood run cold. They found documents. Documents. Plural. Not one mistake. Not one accident. An entire paper trail. And I already knew what that meant. Somebody wanted this pinned on me. Before sunrise, I drove back into town. But I didn't go home. And I sure as hell didn't go near the office. Instead, I visited the one man I still trusted. Daniel Mercer, former accountant. Gray beard, old school guy who saved every receipt like the IRS was hiding in his bushes. When he opened the door and saw me standing there soaked from the rain, he sighed like he'd been expecting me. "Took you long enough?" We sat in silence while he unlocked an old filing cabinet. Then he handed me a thick stack of papers. Loan approvals, vendor contracts, transfer authorizations. Every page carried my signature, except I had never signed any of them. "You seeing this now?" Daniel asked quietly. I nodded. My chest felt tight. "Your son wasn't working alone, Jack." That sentence hit harder than anything else, because part of me still wanted to believe Tyler got manipulated, used, pressured. But this was planned. Board members had approved millions moving through fake shell companies. Money vanished in chunks so clean most people would never notice. And suddenly, Tyler pushing me out made perfect sense. As long as I stayed close to the company, I might uncover the truth. So they removed me first. Then Daniel handed me one final folder. "You really need to see this." Inside was a list of names connected to the fake accounts. Board members, outside consultants, executives, and one name that made my stomach twist instantly. Marcus Reed, my best friend, the guy who helped me build the company from day one. The man who stood beside me at my wife's funeral. I stared at his name for almost a full minute. Then I closed the folder. Very carefully. Because when betrayal cuts that deep, you either explode or you become dangerous. And that night, sitting alone in my dark living room, I made a decision. I wasn't gonna scream. Wasn't gonna beg. Wasn't gonna warn anybody. I was gonna bury every single one of them with the truth. Quietly. Piece by piece. And none of them would see it coming. For the next 3 weeks, I disappeared. People thought I was hiding. Truth was, I was hunting. Daniel connected me with 2 former employees who'd left the company months earlier. Both told the same story. Records changed. Numbers manipulated. Pressure from upper management. One refused to cooperate and got fired. The other secretly copied files before walking out. That saved me. I rented a tiny office across town above an old tire shop and covered an entire wall with evidence. Emails, bank transfers, security logs, fake contracts. Patterns started forming fast. Same names, same accounts, same approvals. Then I found the mistake that blew the whole thing open. Someone had used my old executive email account after my building access had already been revoked. The timestamps proved it. Security records proved it. And whoever did it was sloppy enough to leave digital fingerprints behind. I brought everything to a cybersecurity expert I trusted. 2 days later, he called me sounding nervous. "Jack, don't send this to the feds yet." "Why?" Long pause. "Because this wasn't just embezzlement." I gripped the phone tighter. "What are you saying?" "They were building a criminal case against you." Silence filled the room. Then he added, "If you waited another month, you probably would have been arrested." That's when the anger disappeared completely, and clarity took its place. The next morning, I walked straight into the board meeting. Nobody expected me. Tyler stood near the projector giving some polished corporate presentation about stability and leadership transition. Typical PR garbage. He froze the second he saw me. Every conversation in the room died instantly. I smiled politely. "Morning, everybody." Nobody answered. I set my cardboard box on the conference table, the same box I carried out weeks earlier. Then I started pulling files out one by one. Emails, contracts, bank records, forensic reports. The room got quieter with every page. One board member actually started sweating through his collar. Tyler finally spoke. "Dad, what is this?" I looked him dead in the eye. "The truth." Then I slid the final folder across the table. Marcus Reed's name sat right on top. Tyler's face lost all color. A lawyer standing near the wall opened his briefcase immediately. That's when everybody realized this wasn't family drama anymore. This was criminal. Federal-level criminal. Tyler tried talking. Tried explaining. Tried blaming pressure, debt, investors. I let him talk. Didn't interrupt once, because sometimes silence scares people more than yelling ever could. Eventually, he stopped. Nobody in the room could even look at me anymore. Then the attorney spoke calmly. "Based on the evidence provided, investigators will be redirecting the case immediately." Redirecting, funny word, means they finally found the real criminals. And for the first time in months, my name was clean again. I picked up my cardboard box and headed for the door. Same hallway, same security guard, same rain outside. But this time, everything felt different. A few weeks earlier, I walked out looking defeated. Now, I walked out knowing I survived the people closest to me. And the crazy part? Losing the company never broke me. Betrayal did. But betrayal also taught me something. Never underestimate a quiet man with nothing left to lose.